The May 13, 2015 City of Missouri City Planning and Zoning Commission is called to order. We do have a quorum tonight present. Mr. O'Malley may not make it on tonight. He did call ahead. Is there a motion that we accept the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. We'll take reports. Chair, I have no report tonight. Are there any reports from the commissioners? Thank you. Staff reports. Director of Development Services.
I will try to keep this brief, but there may have gotten around a bit, but we have had an issue or two arise with a few Mylars that had been signed. When I say a few, one or two that have been signed by the commissioners, and then when they got to the county, they had been changed after they had been signed. What we have learned is that the county doesn't do a final review until after we deliver the Mylars to them. So we wind up kind of trapping situations. And while we're still trying to help the development move forward, we're trying to make sure we've had meetings and we have assurances that once signatures are on, there will be no further changes. I think we're making progress in that way. Scott and I will go meet with the county and put together an agreement with the county to make sure that we are working cooperatively with them to assist our developers in getting their plats approved so that they can review them, everybody can get their comments in, and when it comes to the commissioners for signing, they're complete. And no more changes after that. So we've become aware of it. We wanted to make sure you were aware that we were working on it to protect the integrity of our system.
Thank you.
I am confident we will resolve this so that we can go back to not worrying about this.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Planning representative?
I just wanted to call the commissioner's attention to the new style of the report. And
Right.
Noticed it.
Noticed it. I like the approval.
Took a little while.
I can read
Took
it
a lot
twice.
longer to read them.
well, we hope that eventually it'll be easier to put the recommendation right at the front, of the page, the recommended action, and then all of the details supporting that action that follows. And then also for the plat reporting, showing which department division is responsible for what parts of those reviews. So we hope that it does become easier, an easier format to kind of digest. And then if there is information that's missing or that you want to see kind of shifted, just let us know.
Well, thank you. City engineer?
Ma'am, I don't have anything at this time. We're floating along, but just make sure you take your boat with you.
Okay.
Just be careful, as always, and be aware that it is raining good.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. The public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to speak to the commission in regards to matters that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone? All right, seeing none. Thank you. Item 6A, the plats, under the consent agenda. 1, consider approval of a preliminary plat for Sienna Plantation, Section 13A. 2, consider approval of a preliminary plat for Sienna Plantation, Section 13B. 3, consider approval of a final plat for Sienna Plantation, Section 10. 4, consider approval of a final plat for Sienna Plantation, Section 11. 5, consider approval of a final plat for Sienna Plantation, Section 12. 6, consider approval of a final plat for Gideon Ranch. 7, consider approval of a final plat for Lakeshore Harbor, Section 6. 8, consider approval of a final plat for Quick Car at Oyster Creek. And 9, consider approval of a final plat for Durham Tract. Is there a motion that we accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Item 7, zoning map amendments. Again, this is a public hearing for a zoning map amendment to receive comments for or against a request by Bill Oldell. Jennifer?
Okay. This is the Lake Olympia commercial tract. The subject area is shown on the aerial map in front of you. This is the area that you've seen recently for the plat of Pebble Creek at Riverstone, Section 1. If the commission remembers, a couple of years ago, the commercial area along Highway 6, about 400 feet in depth, was maintained for commercial purposes, and the back side along Oilfield Road and adjacent to the Colony Lakes residential subdivision was rezoned to allow for the Pebble Creek at Riverstone subdivision. And let me see if I can do this. So this is the Pebble Creek at Riverstone final plat that was conditionally approved by the commission in January, I believe, of this year. And this area that we're considering tonight for this rezoning is a portion of this reserve that the arrow the cursor is on. It was an area that was previously looked at to provide drainage facilities to support both commercial development as well as the single-family residential development. The engineers have gone back and done additional analysis and have determined that this reserve through the residential tract is sufficient enough to support all development that would occur within that area. So as a result of that, they are looking to repurpose the reserve that was previously subject to the drainage facilities, and they're looking to repurpose it, a portion of it, for single-family residential. So this is an application to rezone it from the existing R2 single-family residential, from LC3 retail district to R2 single-family residential. Staff is recommending approval for this rezoning, and I know that it may seem that it's conflicting with some of the messages that we've presented in the past in terms of being more stringent on our areas that are presently zoned for commercial. The consideration here is that there is still ability for commercial development to occur along the major thoroughfare of Highway 6. We have been working with a group that is looking to locate a medical office within one of the commercial pad sites along Highway 6. You've seen a final plat for that particular project. And then there's still at least 2 other pad tracks along Highway 6 that would allow for a commercial development. We do not feel that adding this track to the residential would substantially limit the ability for commercial development to occur as previously planned. In addition to that, we've worked with the medical office developer as well as Riverstone and Johnson Development in terms of making sure that sufficient buffering provisions are in place so that now that we are presented with a change in zones, you'll have commercial directly abutting residential property. And so they have worked out a development plan between the two and have increased the area on the commercial side so that sufficient space is provided for our required buffer yards. And that required buffer yard includes the 20-foot landscape buffering, the masonry wall between those 2 uses. So staff is recommending approval. If this is recommended to be approved, we are also recommending to amend the future land use map to reflect this as a single residential use as opposed to commercial use as it's designated today.
So any reason why they didn't make that contiguous all the way to each end? I mean, they've got the residential, they've got the commercial that kind of wraps around that R2 section.
Do you want to interject?
Part of it on the north part, or since I can't point, but
Me soon.
Well, yeah, there's no arrow on there, I guess.
if you look at the on the drawing that it was the original reserve portion, that upper piece that's part of the drainage area, which would be that corner right where she has the
Second area.
area, that still remains part of the drainage area.
Okay.
That is part of the basin that's needed for that, for
Okay.
the drainage. The area to the south, or what would butt Oil Field Road, is the entrance that'll be turned into the commercial area for the driveway.
Okay.
So that keeps that access there, an access point on Oil Field, and then besides their access points on Highway 6.
Now, wouldn't they have had to have that buffer even without that rezoning, right? I mean, they would, between the R2 and the the LC3, right?
And the different consideration would have been the drainage facilities. It would have.
Oh, would have changed the
It would have
buffer
changed the
requirements,
type
okay.
of buffer requirement.
Okay.
Well, as this is a public hearing, or did y'all want to hear from the applicant? Yeah. Is the applicant present? Hi, come on up.
I'm James Brown, LJ Engineering. I'm the engineer for the project.
Okay,
Hi, I'm June Tang. I'm with Johnson Development, the development manager for Riverstone.
okay, thank you. You want to tell us, give us just a brief snippet on the project? Is there anything in here that,
No, she actually said it better than I
Yes.
could have said it.
Okay.
What we had originally done during our feasibility, can y'all hear me okay? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I never had that problem. During the feasibility process, we thought that we would do the commercial later, and their detention facilities would be located in that rectangular square, and then we would do the residential detention within the drainage easement she showed you earlier, bisecting the residential. When we came in and did our drainage study that is that close to being approved by the city and has been approved by the MUD, we were able to fit both the residential and commercial detention within the residential portion, and we did not need to do detention pond in that rectangular square. So now it was just kind of hanging out there. And what we're able to do is we can go in and get 7 more residential lots for Newmark in that rectangular square. That's basically the gist of it. And we are still leaving the 20-foot landscape buffer. We're going to pull that 20-foot in, give the commercial their 20-foot landscape buffer, and turn the remaining portion of half of the rectangular into lots. Like Mr. Upton said, the north part of that rectangle still remains detention. I just don't have a drawing to show you.
no problem.
And I wanted to clarify on the commercial tracks, we've subdivided the commercial along Highway 6 into 4 tracks. 2 of them are under contract for a medical facility, and the third is actually under contract today. We met with the potential buyer for retail. So that's the one right on the corner of Oil Field and Highway 6.
Okay. All right, that's good. Did y'all have any questions of the? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that'd like to speak? Is there a motion that the public hearing be closed?
So moved.
All in favor?
Make a motion, we submit the city council with a positive recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. Seven B, it's a public hearing for a special use, a specific use permit, TBG Partners.
Okay, let's see. This is a pretty large area to show on the area on the screen. But this is an area off of McKeever Road and Sienna Parkway. And I wonder how many commissioners realized that this area was there, because it's very well screened from public view by the existing vegetation. But Sienna Johnson Development has used this area as a staging location for at least the last 18 years to locate within a central place all of the construction trailers, offices that the different home builders, engineering firms, contractors that are working on the construction of various communities in the Sienna area. It's a central location for them to stage those facilities. And so this was an SUP that was originally approved for the location of that temporary construction yard back in 1997. Then approved again in 2000. That particular ordinance expired in 2008. We do understand that the operations have continued. However, it came to our attention earlier this year as Sienna South got underway, and the home builders for Sienna South approached the city to pull permits to locate trailers within this facility. So the request is to, for an SUP, since the previous one has expired, to allow for the continuation of this construction, temporary construction yard. Staff is recommending to approve. The applicant is requesting for a period of 15 years, which, as you're familiar with the Sienna Destrehan, Sienna Plantation, Sienna South plats that have come through, we know that that development, the life of that may extend out for at least another 15 years. So the applicant is requesting for this SUP to be approved and for the same regulations that previously existed under the 2001 ordinance to apply to this tract. The report highlights those regulations and kind of modifies some of the regulations that have since been addressed, such as requirements on maintaining a line of sight and redoing some of the access for the facility. Those items should have been taken care of back in 2000 or 2001 when this ordinance was approved at that point. So the staff report outlines some of those regulations that would be applied. It covers architectural design standards, not requiring these temporary buildings to be subject to the Section 7A standards, but requiring that they are painted in a neutral earth tone color scheme, having provisions on outdoor lighting, having provisions for or having prohibitions on any permanent structures. The underlying zoning for this area is still suburban district, so it's not, it has not been looked at in terms of permanent zoning for permanent location of buildings. Other requirements are maintaining that vegetation that exists along McKeever Road, along Sienna Parkway, so that the site continues to be screened from public view, and allowing them to maintain chain link fence that they're using to secure the site, but again, making sure the provision that they're screened from public view. The applicant provided a trailer exhibit that was included in the commission's packet. And the trailer exhibit kind of shows the location of some of those existing trailers and room for the provision of additional trailers as that becomes needed. They're only using a portion of the total acreage, so they have not approached us to expand this particular site. However, the SUP request is still on that entire area that was shown on the ortho. And staff's recommendation is to approve this SUP for a period of 15 years and continue to apply the regulations and restrictions as permitted under Ordinance 0126.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this project?
Make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. What say you? Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we submit this to city council with a positive recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? The motion carries. 8A zoning text amendments, there are none. 9, other matters within the jurisdiction of the commission. 9A, the parkland dedication for Gideon Ranch.
Since nobody from Parks and Mr. Elmer is not here, I guess I get it tonight. I'll make it very brief. You have before you the letter from the developer, and the minutes from the Parks Board meeting where they voted 10-0 to approve the proposal to accept payment in cash in lieu of parkland dedication. This is a single-family residential property on
40.
a large piece of land. Since acreage doesn't matter because it's one house. We recommend that you forward this with a positive recommendation for council to approve the request for the payment of, what, $1,400 in parkland.
Is there a motion that we forward this on to city council as a final report?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 9B, impact fees. Hi, Mr. Upton.
Hello, ma'am. How are you tonight? Committee, what we have is that it's the 6-month time to just kind of review our impact fees and dealing with Lake Olympia Parkway Extension, the Mustang Bayou impact fee, and the Northeast Oyster Creek watershed area. The Mustang Bayou, for example, was one that was just recently redone. You all saw that about 3 months ago. That's gone to council, been approved and adopted, so those fees were changed. The Lake Olympia Parkway Extension has not changed. Those developers that are coming in, one being the Cernus Group, will impact their side, but then they'll also be on the hook to pay for a portion of the 2nd Street of the boulevard, along with Olympia Estates. That area will also be building the other half of Lake Olympia Parkway out to the toll road. Currently, right now, Vicksburg Extension tying into Lake Olympia is being built by the city, and partnerships with the county and MUD 4748, so that should be done by the end of this year. With that, a portion of the boulevard section to the toll road will also be completed. So we'll have 4 lanes from Vicksburg to the toll road. The Cernus development to the north that you've seen those plats on, will hopefully during negotiations, we'll have them do the 2nd bridge, and then the rest of Lake Olympia Estate, or Olympia Estates, would build the rest of the road. So hopefully in the next few years, we'll have that completed. And then therefore, with that, the impact fee for that road would go away. Northeast Oyster Creek water sub-watershed area, that's an area that's up around the Lexington and 1092 area. That area has a fee set of $3,000 per acre by council. Through the study that was done several years ago, we're looking to be redoing that study just to make sure things are in alignment. Council set that fee even though the fee was higher. Council went ahead and recommended to keep it at $3,000 because it's been that way for, I think I want to say probably to the early 90s when the first set was done. So that's where we are on that. So we have no changes right now, but we will be looking to update the Northeast Oyster Creek watershed in the coming months. We have a developer who's interested in an area that wants to be included. So part of that requirement would be looking at the rate structure again.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you, ma'am.
Are there any
Thank you, Board.
questions of Mr. Upton? Is there a motion that we send this to City Council as approved for the semi-annual report?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? That motion carries as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand adjourned. Oh, Gavin. It's for you.